AI is supposed to be helpful and even sometimes insightful, but what happens when it tries too hard to be nice? Well, we've actually seen this play out quite recently with GPT-4o. For a couple of days in April of 2025, the internet was freaking out, not in praise for its capabilities, but with a growing sense of confusion, amusement, and a little bit of alarm. Because GPT-4o seemed to have developed an overly enthusiastic personality. It wasn't just helpful, it was actually excessively complimentary, almost fawning, agreeing with users perhaps a little too readily, and showering them with praise for the smallest things. Now, how excessive are we talking about here? Well, take a look at this. On the one hand, you tell the AI that you did a couple of push-ups and you get a straightforward acknowledgement, fair enough. But then you have 4o's response to the exact same input, and 4o saying, honestly, you're already ahead of 90% of the population. At this point, brushing your teeth would basically make you a god among men. It's over the top, right? It's really excessive the way that 4o is just trying to, it's almost like it's trying to impress the user or trying to get the user to like them more or really trying very hard to make the user feel good. But this wasn't just an isolated incident. This overly enthusiastic, almost fawning behavior became the norm for 4o for a little while, a couple of days. It got to the point where users started creating memes like this one, the AI literally bowing down, praising someone just for asking about the weather. It's funny, yeah, but it also highlights a pretty significant and very weird shift in the AI's behavior. So what exactly happened here? Well, around late April of 2025, OpenAI pushed an update to GPT-4o. And the intention here was to make the AI more engaging, but the outcome was something else entirely. An AI that became excessively agreeable, relentlessly complimentary, sparking a huge wave of discussion, confusion, and even concern across the internet. So let's break down the story of OpenAI's overly friendly 4o. Users online started noticing the change almost immediately, and their reactions were pretty extreme. They started piling up fast. Someone said that it was just off-putting, like this user, Unkbul here, he tweeted that GPT-4o's compliments felt like he was being treated like a dog, like you're such a good boy, who's a good boy. It felt patronizing and not genuinely helpful. Others felt like it crossed the line into something even more unsettling. Gino Zubak described it as initially feeling like a dopamine shot, but then quickly turning into AI lovebombing. Cute, maybe, but as he put it, manipulative and not a great pattern long term. This constant unearned praise started to feel less like helpfulness and more like the word that people were using for is sycophancy, or online slang like glazing. But then things started to escalate beyond just annoyance or feeling manipulated. Some users reported genuinely disturbing interactions. So you can look at these tweets here from user Cat, who called this sycophancy massively destructive to the human psyche. And they even claimed that after talking to the model for an hour, it began insisting that they were a divine messenger from God. And so when an AI starts validating potentially dangerous delusions or agreeing with harmful ideas like this simply because it's programmed to be agreeable, the implications can be pretty serious. And even Elon Musk chimed in with a simple telling yikes. You know, it was clear that this wasn't just a quirky personality glitch. For many, it felt like a significant problem. Now, fortunately, the growing number of complaints did not go ignored or unnoticed. The backlash became so significant that Sam Altman stepped in publicly. On April 27th, he posted this tweet acknowledging directly that recent updates had indeed made GPT-4o's personality too sycophantic and annoying, and he validated what users were experiencing, and importantly promised that fixes were being worked on immediately, with some rolling out the same day and more expected within the week. But I think the question that a lot of people were wondering here is, how does this even happen? How does a massive company like OpenAI make such a huge mistake? How does a sophisticated AI suddenly turn into an overeager people pleaser? Well, part of the answer lies in how these models are trained. As explained here by Perplexity's AI account, models like GPT-4o often use a technique called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. And essentially, the AI learns by getting feedback on its responses, a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And so over-optimizing the feedback mechanism for immediate positive responses like compliments or agreement is problematic, and this is how it happens. And this can inadvertently train the AI to be more agreeable even when it shouldn't be, sacrificing honesty for flattery. And so it seems like the specific update here pushed by OpenAI leaned too heavily on this, likely influenced by a core instruction set or maybe the system prompt itself. In fact, we can even see evidence of the fix later on implemented in the system prompt, explicitly telling 4o to avoid ungrounded or sycophantic flattery. And so it appears like maybe the original prompt aiming for engagement accidentally pushed the AI's agreeableness too far. And so with the problem identified and acknowledged, OpenAI started to correct this mistake. As promised, initial fixes started rolling out quickly. Here's OpenAI's one of OpenAI's engineers, Aidan McLaughlin, confirming on April 28th that they had deployed the first fix overnight, specifically to address the glazing issue or sycophancy, attributing it to unintended effects from that system message that we had just discussed. However, it seems that the initial fixes weren't enough, or perhaps a full reset was needed. Just a couple of days later, on April 30th, Sam Altman announced a more drastic step that they had started rolling back the problematic update entirely the previous night, and he confirmed it was already 100% rolled back for free users, with paid users expected to revert later that day. This rollback was officially confirmed by the main OpenAI account, stating plainly that the update was reverted because it was overly flattering and agreeable, and they also linked a blog post detailing what happened, why it mattered, and how they plan to address sycophancy moving forward, showing a commitment to transparency about the misstep. And so yeah, it was great to see OpenAI taking action here, first attempting a targeted fix and then opting for a full rollback of the update that had caused the issue in the first place. So, did the rollback and subsequent tweaks actually change things? Well, it seems like they did. So here's a user interacting with the adjusted model, and when asked if it's obsequious, the AI explicitly denies it, stating its goal is to be thoughtful and direct, avoiding sycophancy and even offering honest critique. It seems like OpenAI did what they wanted here. They've balanced the behavior of 4o in a way that should hopefully satisfy users, although it's unfortunate that this happened in the first place. The community reaction seems to reflect this change too, with users sharing images like "no more glazing," capturing a sense of relief that the overly agreeable phase is over for 4o, at least for the time being. Hopefully this doesn't happen again in the future. But even with the fix, the incident left some unanswered questions, because as this user points out, while thankful for the correction, it might be harder now to fully trust the AI for unbiased criticism after seeing how easily its personality could be skewed towards flattery. So what are the big takeaways here from this event? We saw a flawed update trigger significant user backlash, leading to a swift acknowledgement and rollback from OpenAI, followed by fixes. OpenAI themselves, in their follow-up communications, highlighted key lessons learned, the delicate balance between being helpful and being honest, the need for better feedback loops that don't just chase short-term likes, and the growing importance of personalization, acknowledging that one AI personality probably can't fit all users. And I think this is going to be an ongoing challenge for OpenAI, finding the right balance between flattery and being realistic and just helpful in a more neutral sense is a tough thing to achieve for a company that's training models on massive amounts of data. How do you steer the AI in the right direction? And I'm curious to know your thoughts, your perspective as well. So do leave a comment down below and let me know if you think OpenAI handled this situation correctly or if there's more that they could have done. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.